Welcome to Growing Your Team, a podcast designed for small business owners seeking to grow their company with the help of employees and contractors. Your time is limited, which means growing and leveraging teams is essential for business success. The Growing Your Team podcast is the place to learn tips and techniques designed to help you know when it's the right time to hire, how to select perfect fit team members, and how to maximize productivity while creating a positive work environment. Drawing from her 10-plus years of leadership and hiring experience, here is your host, Jamie Van Kuyk.
Hello, Jamie Van Kuyk here, and welcome back to the Growing Your Team podcast. Have you ever heard about the kids' books called Once Upon a Pancake? These are creative writing tool books for kids, and they have them in multiple age ranges that are all designed to help kids write creative stories. We have them for both our 5 and 7-year-olds, and they love them. They love making up these stories in there that are based on the prompts that they give. And one of the things that I love is these prompts aren't asking them things about themselves. It's really digging into their creative side. So why am I telling you about these Once Upon a Pancake books? Because after all, I'm sure you're thinking why I'm telling you about this because this is a business podcast. This isn't a podcast about having kids or any of that stuff. The reason I'm telling you about these is because most people conduct interviews to bring out storytellers and not to identify if a candidate is truly qualified for the job. So my advice to you is stop hiring team members for their storytelling abilities. I know you're sitting there right now and thinking, I don't do that. That's not me, but trust me, it is. And the way you conduct your interviews is bringing out the stories in candidates just as well as these Once Upon a Pancake books are bringing out the storytelling abilities in my children. Now, to help you wrap your head around this and see this, let me give you an example. So you ask the question, what is your greatest strength? One of the most popular questions out there. If you look at any blog, any article that gives you popular interview questions, this one is on there. And the interviewee comes back and says to you, I am a very dedicated person who always shows up to work on time and ensures that my assignments are completed to the requirements. I will be fully committed to this position and the company. And to you in your mind, when you hear that, you're probably going, wow, that is such a great answer. This is exactly what I want out of my new hire. And my question to you is, okay, it sounds great, but what did it tell you? And the reality is that answer told you absolutely nothing. Here's the problem with interview questions like that, which I call generic interview questions that you could throw into any interview. They provide generic, highly researched, and well-rehearsed answers. While they might tell you something that you want to hear, chances of uncovering what you need to know are very slim. But let's say you hire this person. Let's say they got you hook, line, and sinker based on their storytelling abilities, their ability to uncover what you want to hear instead of uncovering the truth about them. Most likely, weeks after hiring the candidates, they're going to be struggling in the role and unable to complete the assignments that you want. So, as their manager, wanting to make it so this person succeeds, you start blocking off more time on your calendar to spend with them. Because after all, the reason they're not catching on must be because of lack of training and support on your part. When that doesn't work, you adjust the role as you're determined to find something they can do because they're now a part of your team. They're a part of your company. Next thing you know, the role is nothing like you envisioned, and you feel like you're spending money to still do all the needed work yourself. Sound familiar? Because it happens every day in companies. So here's the deal. You're not hiring team members for their storytelling abilities. You're hiring someone to complete specific tasks and hold specific responsibilities within your company. And just because someone says they can do something doesn't mean they actually have the experience or will act that way once put in a real situation. Trust me. When asked, everyone's going to say that they're a team player. Everyone's going to say they're amazing and can do exactly what you asked them about. But does their past behavior show this? Does it show, for example, that they're a team player? Or are they as quick to throw a team member under the bus as I am to throw my husband under the bus when our girls asked who ate the last of their candy? Sorry, Derek, but you know you ate it. So you have to remember, the purpose of an interview is to uncover if a candidate is truly qualified and conceding in the position. It's not about finding out who went and studied the hardest for an interview. Yes, candidates have to interview well, and interview practice can make the difference between someone interviewing well and someone stumbling over every question you ask, just like I just stumbled over my words there. But there's a difference between someone who is prepared and confident during an interview and can tell you the truth about them versus someone who rehearsed popular answers. Say these answers and you will get the job, and went out and prepared that way instead of preparing to uncover and tell you who they truly are. So discovering who a candidate truly is and if they really have the qualifications needed to succeed in the position all comes down to knowing the right interview questions to ask. The questions that uncover true experiences and not these well-rehearsed stories that place candidates in this fairy tale light. Trust me, if a candidate started off and said, "Once upon a time," you'd automatically know that it's a story. But candidates don't start off that way when they're telling stories to you. But they still tell stories, and when you ask the right interview questions, you uncover the truth. And I know you might say, well, no matter what question I ask, they can practice. They can come up with something that's not really the truth. But when you ask the right questions, you can dig deeper and deeper into what they tell you to uncover the truth about the situation, the truth about the candidate, the truth that tells you, do they just know that this exists, or can they actually apply it? And trust me, I've had candidates who can sit there and, let's use marketing for example, can tell me every marketing term, can tell me what's important about a marketing campaign down to the T. They know all the book definitions. But when it comes to, okay, can you provide me an example of a situation where you applied this? They stumble. Or then it comes out the truth. Well, I really haven't had to do that in any of my roles. Great. It doesn't matter that people know the definitions. It matters if they can apply it. Unless you're hiring for a very, very entry-level position where you are prepared to hold their hand and teach them. So I talked about how it's all knowing what questions to ask. So how do you know what questions you should ask? Getting this true, deep understanding about the candidate and what they have done, what they have really done, and not what just they learned, what they rehearsed, comes down to asking the behavioral interview type questions. So if you want to know more about behavior interview type questions, go back and listen to episode 23. Where here we talk about why you need to ask behavioral interview questions in your interviews. And it'll really help you understand what these types of questions are and how to format them. So that way you are uncovering the true information about a candidate. Also in episode 39, we talk about more detail of how to know what questions to ask when hiring. So that's another great episode for you to listen to go and uncover what you should be asking during an interview. But I'm going to give you a quick overview here of how do you know what questions to ask when you're interviewing candidates? How do you know what's going to help pull out that right information about a candidate and not dive into their storytelling abilities. And the most important thing you can do to uncover the right questions to ask is first uncovering what it truly means to succeed in the position and what skill sets are important. By knowing what it means to succeed in the position, you start to clarify what type of candidate you should be looking for. A lot of people have experience in the same industry, but one candidate's experience and another candidate's experience are not the same, and both are not going to succeed in your position. One is going to align more with what you are looking for than the other. They both can be amazing at what they do. They both could get to the same level in different companies. We talked a lot about marketing. So going back to that marketing concept, both people could end up becoming chief marketing officers at companies and putting together campaigns and everything needed to bring the company's revenue to multi-million dollars, billion-dollar companies. But put them in the opposite company and they both might fail. They both might not succeed at getting the needed results for the company to truly show that they're right. And this is because when these companies are hiring, when you're hiring, you need to know what matters for your position within your company. And then finding the right person to match that. Because once again, as I always say, someone can be great at what they do, but if they're not great at what you need, it's a waste of your time, money, and energy to hire them. So once again, the first thing you need to do to really understand what type of questions you should ask, what areas you should dig into, is uncovering what it truly means to succeed in the position and what skill sets are important. For example, the questions you need to ask if someone's truly a great receptionist for your business are going to be completely different questions that you're going to ask if someone who is going to be a sales producer for your business. You might say, well, they both need to be friendly. They both need to build relationships. They both need, and go on and on about things that could be similar. But even in those areas, so even in the area of, let's say, customer service for people that are going to interact with customers on a daily basis, what is important about customer service for a receptionist is completely different than what is important for customer service for a sales associate. And if you ask the same customer service questions for both positions and don't dig into any of the differences, or don't know what you're looking for when you ask those questions, you're never going to uncover if someone's truly qualified for the job. So as we go to wrap up for today, remember, you're not hiring candidates based off their storytelling abilities. Therefore, you want to make sure you ask questions that don't give you generic, well-rehearsed answers, but rather that you're asking questions that dive into what is important about your position, about that specific position, that specific role, and asking the questions that are designed to pull out that candidate's true experience and abilities. So once again, asking questions that pull out those candidates' true experience and abilities so you can determine not what they say they're going to do, but pull out the behavior that indicates what they are most likely to do in the same situations within your business. Are you ready to hire a new team member for your business and you want to ensure you hire the person who can succeed in the role, make you happy, and positively impact your bottom line? Then set up time and let's talk, because this is exactly how I help business owners like you. When you go through my hire framework, not only will you learn how to attract candidates who have the passion you desire, but you'll be able to identify and select candidates who have the skills you need and can succeed in the role. With my hire framework, you go through 4 core areas. We start off by going through the hiring details. Here, I help you articulate exactly what your position entails so you're not working in reactive mode. We then dig into the very specific criteria your ideal candidate needs to have to be a best fit not only for your position, but for your company as a whole. Then we move on to step 2, initiating the advertising plan. This is where I create you a detailed custom job posting and a custom advertising plan designed to bring in perfect fit candidates. So you spend your time looking at quality candidates. Then step 3 is all about the review process. I provide you with a review guide that's designed to help you identify quickly what to look for in a submitted application to determine if they're worthy of your time. After you choose the best candidates, I provide you with a custom interview guide so you know exactly what to ask in an interview and make sure the interview is as productive as possible. And then lastly, step 4, it's all about the expectations for success. Once you've hired the best candidate, I help you make sure your onboarding plan is as efficient as possible so you can set your new hire up for long-term success and no more having to go through the yo-yo of the hiring and firing cycle. You have a team member on your team who's going to stick around and perform at the level needed. Going through this consulting process not only helps you find the right new hire for your current open position, but it teaches you how to repeat this process with every new position you add to your company as it continues to grow. So if you're a small business owner who is ready to hire, has a rough idea of the position you need to add, and you're tired of going through the hiring process only to end up with bad fitting team members, then let's talk. Send me an email at jamie@growingyourteam.com. That's Jamie, Jamie, @growingyourteam.com, or head on over to growingyourteam.com/jumpstart and let's talk about your hiring needs.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Growing Your Team with your host, Jamie Van Kuyk. Be sure to subscribe and head on over to growingyourteam.com to connect, access the show notes, and discover more ways to hire and leverage your perfect fit team.